Hi guys, and well, welcome back to my cave for what is episode 3 of the T140 Bonneville restoration recommission project. I need to start out on this episode by declaring that I am a liar and my pants are on fire. Episodes 1 and 2 I mentioned about the project being a street tracker. However, there's been a change in the project plan and I'm now going for the style of a Triumph Hurricane X75. The Triumph Hurricane for me is one of the best styled bikes ever, and I've managed to purchase a body kit for the T140, and yes, I realise it won't be a true Triumph Hurricane and X75, but it will be a build in the style of a bike that I believe to be iconic in its style. I had gone as far with buying 1 or 2 bits for the Street Tracker project, and well, you can probably see some images there. I'll save those and they'll be kept for a later project, a new project in the future. So, declaration of being a liar over. Let's get on with this episode. In episode 2, recommissioned the engine. Went through everything just to make sure it was okay to start. We did get it to start. It wasn't running correctly, as you're probably aware. So in this episode, we're trying to step up from that. Now that we've got the engine running safely, I'm now going to see if I can get it to run more correctly. So to try and achieve that and to get the motor running correctly or as best we can in its current state, what have we done? Well, new HT leads, new plugs, and I've gone for iridium plugs. I've got new coils in there. Set up the carbs, put some, as you can hopefully see, some pancake filters on there as well, because that's the aesthetic that we're going to go for the final build. I've also started amassing some of the parts we'll need for the final build. Brake calipers, they were on the bike but they were junk, they were totally roached out, so they've been rebuilt and they've been powder coated, and I think they look pretty damn good. I've also managed to get a battery holder and a coil bracket. The coil bracket on this setup, it's mashed, it's been bent and there's bits missing from it. However, I've managed to just get it workable for this setup for a test bed. Also, the battery holder's missing on this bike. A real junky setup they've got just to hold the battery in place. However, as I mentioned, I've got some used parts. Again, they've been powder coated. It's by the guys at Wheelermin, or a local hull company, or local to me anyway, and they keep coming with some really good work for me, so thanks for that one, guys. Also, when we get the engine running, I'm going to do an oil pressure check. I'll also do a compression check and see where we are on the compression. Again, I don't think for a minute the motor's going to be perfect. I've said that before, but I can start getting an indication of perhaps how much work the motor is going to take to get it to the point where, you know, it's a good running bike. So let's get the bike down off the bench, do some compression tests, get the motor running. We head out on the highway, set the motor up if we can, get it running nice and sweet if possible. Then we'll do an oil pressure check and see where we are on oil pressure. So let's give it a try and see if the parts that I've put on have been worth the time and money. I did forget to mention earlier, I actually did set the tappets as well and just monkeyed around with the inspection covers in terms of an aesthetic, really, which we may go with a bike. The valve clearances were, well, everything was up solid, and I mean solid, so it's a little bit surprising it was running before. Anyway, I've sorted it out. I've readjusted the valve clearances, tappets, whichever you want to call that. So with a bit of luck, it should start. So let's try. Ignition on, because I've forgotten to do that before. Fuel. Here we go. pretty reasonable tick over. Carbs still want some element of adjustment. Yeah, oil pressure seems reasonable. Well, actually running out of petrol. Running out of petrol at that point, and it was sending the carbs a bit crazy. But yeah, it worked. Always good when it does. So, another step forward. Some quite promising results there. We looked at the oil pressure, which seems pretty good to me for an engine that was at tick over. The bike ran well at tick over. Didn't run the bike too long, and I didn't run the bike hard and start blipping the throttle. Part of the problem with that is it's got these stupid bloody open exhaust pipes on. Obviously to run the bike I need the garage doors open, but it really starts to aggravate the neighbours, and it would do as well. It would do me as well. It's way too noisy, so that's something to look at for the future. Times when I did blip the throttle, it seemed to run up fairly well. Not suggesting things don't need a little bit more setting up, they clearly do. But there's a good indication there that the motor is fairly okay. Again, not suggesting that there isn't some work to be done. Certainly a top end refresh as the very minimum, which I've mentioned before. What I did do as well after the engine had warmed up was do a compression test. You can see the values on screen, left cylinder, right cylinder. Pretty much the same for both cylinders, so that's should be telling us there's something good going on there. I think we normally work on about 10% deviation between each cylinder. That one was clearly well in, and I think around 125 psi per cylinder has got to be pretty good as well on an engine you know, of this age. So what's next? Well, I'll probably start looking at the rolling chassis really. Maybe look at getting wheels rebuilt, rebuild the front end. See where we're going to go with that. Clearly the motor needs to come out, and the motor will have to have some level of work, and it needs to come out to go in the other frame of course as well. However, it's still summer here in the UK, and we're having at the moment a pretty good summer, so I need to be out and about riding my XJR. I need to be monkeying around on the DT400s and just having a little bit of fun. And again, it's never going to be a quick project. It's probably going to be spring next year, so spring 2020, before everything's completed. How many times we've set a date on a project and that date is not to be believed. Anyway, thanks for looking in, and well, look in on the next episode, and bye for now.